guys, IKhanWhisper here, back with another episode of Cooking with Khan. This is going to be the dinner that we made on St. Patrick's Day earlier this week. Usually we just go with the traditional corned beef and cabbage and veggies and stuff in a crock pot, but we wanted to branch out and do something a little bit different this year. So we went with an Irish stew, a Guinness Irish stew, with a side of Colcannon. What that is, if you don't know, I'll explain that when we get here, but when we get there. But for right now, we are prepping the veggies for the stew. Just skin the potatoes, and now we're just cutting them up into little bite-sized bits. I usually go for about this size. For the stew, maybe a bit bigger for if you're just throwing them in the crock pot, you can leave them bigger, but whatever is a nice bite-size, spoonable chunk to you, then that is the size that you can cut it into. And the actual cooking of this wasn't anything too crazy, but there's a lot of vegetables and stuff to peel and prep. So a lot of it I sped up just to save you all the prep work. But cutting up some celery here. I like celery, and I usually put in more than the recipe calls for, partly because it's good, and also, even more of a reason is because you buy a big bag for it, and then a recipe only calls for like 3 stalks of it, so I try and make use of it while I have it. Peeling and cutting up some garlic now. If you are having trouble getting the peel off of it, I usually find just twisting them to the side will usually make it split and make your job easier. There are also, I think we have one of them, but a little plastic like kind of tube thing that you just kind of roll them into, and it or put them inside and then roll, and it kind of achieves the same effect of just giving them a twist. Just dice them up fine. Moving on to Mr. Onion here. A lot of times I just like, I don't know, it's dry enough or whatever to just rip into it and pull off the skin of that, but if it's not, you can always cut off the ends like I did there. That'll make getting the skins off easier. And again, just cut your onion into whatever a bite-sized chunk means to you. I usually go for about this size. bit smaller even, but usually when they cook they shrivel up a bit anyway, especially if you cook them and the garlic up individually. We didn't do that for this one just because there's already a lot of things being cooked and demanding counter space, and I don't think it needs it anyway. But yeah, just get odds and ends here. Yeah, whatever size of onion you would want. Whatever bite size means to you. And after this, just leaves the carrots. So there's a lot of veggies in this stew. Good way to get all your veggies, especially if you make it rather healthy. And you can. Biggest thing probably is just making it lower sodium. And then you have a healthy stew. I actually kind of enjoy peeling stuff. I don't know why. I think it's the job that I always got before big family meals like Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter or whatever, you know. It would just, I was the younger child, so I always got like, here, peel all these things, or cut up some of this, or I always got like cut up the green beans as my job, just like every year. That's part of it when I was younger. So, I don't know. Maybe that's why. But just find it kind of chill and relaxing. I think I'm kind of weird in that fact. I actually kind of enjoy the prep work. Alright, veggies are good to go. Here we're going to be cooking up our meat. We actually went for, yeah, here it is coming in slow motion right as I'm talking about it. We went for like a meat substitute. My wife is not going full vegetarian, but trying to eat less meat, just to see how it goes. So we did do this. Obviously, you could replace it, and this was some kind of plant-based meat thing. The Beyond Meat would probably work even better than this if you still wanted to be vegetarian. You could probably leave this out if you wanted to. You know, just go with the veggies. I don't know. Or just beef would have been awesome in it. That's traditional. We got some Worcestershire sauce and soy sauce going in to flavor it. Worcestershire sauce isn't vegetarian, actually. It has sardines in it, I think. So keep that in mind too. Yeah, like little bits of like steak or chunks of beef in this would have been more traditional and delicious. So, you know, feel free to put whatever of those options in there that you want. And we used the Beyond Meat recently, and for the first time. And it's weird how it has like fake blood in it, and it actually changes color when you cook it. I think that was a little bit more Worcestershire. Yeah, this one, it just stays this color, which kind of looks orangey and raw, which is a little weird, but it is cooked. And I think all of the plant-based substitutes you can eat raw too. is meant to start out looking like raw meat is, perfectly edible. It's just like plants and stuff. Recently we made tacos out of that. And, anything that you put taco seasoning on tastes just like tacos. Like a good vegetarian replacement. I know this is off topic for chili. Or not chili, stew, Irish stew. But you can make chickpeas, mash up chickpeas, add taco seasoning and cook them. And it's roughly the texture of ground beef, except a little mushier, but, tastes just like taco meat. Alright, there is our replacement for ground beef in this recipe. I think really if you're going for authentic and maximum flavor, going all out, I think you would use some steak or bigger chunks of beef in it, and that would be super good. Got a little bit of smart balance, butter substitute stuff in the bottom there. You can use butter if you want. We usually try to keep it healthy, and when you're using it in cooking, I don't really notice a difference. And I've just grown used to it, so I don't really mind it, but you'd probably, if you're used to butter, notice it putting it directly on things. If you're putting it on bread or baked potato or something, but I don't mind it. So here we are cooking our veggies for the stew, giving them a little bit of a simmer here, I don't know. Just cook them down a little bit. Take the bite out of them before they go. In with some broth. But there's some good color in it, right? Got the potato, the off-white of the potato, the super white of the onion, the orange from the carrot, the green from the thing I just forgot the name of randomly. Celery. There we go. That was weird. Never forgotten the word celery before. But celery's not a bad snack to have on hand. Eat it with some peanut butter or something. Are you guys familiar with the ants on a log? The celery with some peanut butter down the middle and some raisins. Alright, so the meat is in, meat in quotes. And now we got, this is why it's a Guinness Irish stew. We got a bottle of Guinness Stout going in. So it's definitely going to give it a more beery flavor, but the Guinness Stouts are really smooth and have a good flavor. So it's not like, here we go, unsalted. We used vegetable stock, but definitely if you were making this with beef, you could feel free to use beef stock as well. And I usually go for, this one's unsalted, you can go for unsalted or just reduced sodium, and then add as much, salt to taste while it's cooking. So we got some thyme going in here. Got some salt. Yeah, I like to start with reduced sodium stuff, and then you just add as much as you think it needs instead of just starting out with something super salty. And we had some black pepper going in there as well. Because I feel like there's a lot of things that extra super salted that don't really need to be and don't really. No, it's not necessary. Got some all-purpose flour going in that'll thicken it up a bit. Flour is a good thickening agent. It'll help make it more of a stew and less just of a soup. Got a thumbs up there, so it must be good to go. So that's just going to be cooking on the stove. And now begins the prep work for the Colcannon. And Colcannon, you see me prepping a lot of potatoes here. It's essentially mac and cheese. What am I talking about? It's not mac and cheese. It's mashed potatoes with cabbage and leeks and some spices. So, gotta prep a bunch more potatoes. Gotta get them boiled up and mashed. But like I said, I don't mind peeling stuff. I always volunteer for that job. Doesn't take that long. And on a lot of these videos, you probably hear in the background, yeah, there was the Guinness being opened from the previous segment in the background of this one. But we multitasked here and recorded stuff at the same time, which we hadn't done before, but sped up the process quite a bit. So since these are just being boiled and then mashed, you can leave them in bigger sized chunks. Just cutting them into quarters, which I always just say draw and quarter them, which is not accurate, but it's fun to say. Alright, potatoes are good to go. Here is our cabbage. So yeah, if you, this has all of the main ingredients for a good Irish St. Patrick's Day dinner, right? You got the cabbage. If you were making the stew with beef in it, you got some beef. You got lots of potatoes. Got the Guinness. You're good to go. And you put the Guinness in the stew, and the alcohol cooks out, so you're just left with the flavor. So there's no worries there. Feeding it to your family. Leeks, notorious for, I don't know, being dirty, and you have to make sure to wash it off thoroughly, just because it has all those layers. I don't cook with leeks too often. It's not something that a lot of recipes call for, so that I make at least. So was interesting using them. And this is my first time actually making Colcannon. Just sound like something interesting to try. has a cool name. Just has cannon in there. I'm not sure if traditionally it's cut up a lot finer than this, but I think it worked pretty well. And leeks are pretty giant, aren't they? Got a lot of leek out of it. A lot of edible leek. There we go. Leeks are ready to go. Now we just gotta boil the potatoes. So submerge them in some water, and we'll put them onto the stove. Nothing exciting there, just let them boil until they're tender. And here is another kind of unique step with the Colcannon. You're gonna simmer up the leeks on the stove with some milk and butter. So just let them stay there, sweat a little bit on the stove, absorb that flavor and cook up, get softer. There we go, skip forward in time a little bit, look at something like this, and that is pretty much what you're looking for there. Now the cabbage is gonna need to boil as well. So get that down into the water. That was right if we took the potatoes out. So let's give those a mash in there. We just bought that potato masher. We didn't actually have one before. I think we were just using, I don't know, a fork or something before, but this worked super well. Alright, put that out onto a plate. And then we're gonna have to incorporate the veggies. You're just gonna mix them in and integrate them. So it has some extra milk and butter in it there to make it creamier. Got some salt there, got some pepper. And just mix that in as best you can. It looks like a ton of veggies, but it actually mixes in pretty well. Here we have another unique thing to this. We're grating fresh nutmeg on top. And it looks cool when inside when you grate it. There's a cool pattern in there. But we got that nutmeg on top, and now try to integrate as much cabbage as possible. Again, probably, I don't know, it might be beneficial to have smaller slices of leek and especially cabbage, but you know, it works. And it's pretty tasty altogether. A nice alternative to just straight up mashed potatoes. Get a lot of extra greens and veggies in there, so pretty good. And I didn't end up using all of the cabbage, but you know, there's a healthy amount in there. And then I didn't make this, but you know, it's tradition. You get a nice Irish soda bread, which, if you don't like raisins, you probably won't like. But I like raisins. It's essentially just a dry raisin bread. baking soda, as the name implies. It's pretty dry. This is not the best knife to use for cutting it. So a little bit's breaking off at the end, but you know, it's still delicious. But next year, maybe I'll try to make my own soda bread. I don't think it's that difficult to do. But, yeah, so here's the finished product. Nice looking stew there. Colcannon looks nice on the plate. And, later on, with leftovers, I actually just put, some of the Colcannon on the bottom and some of the stew on top, and that was pretty good. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and leave a like or a comment if you did, and I'll see you guys next time.